Hi sunshines! As always, I hope you are well. Well, we are in May and I thought now was a good time to do a May garden tour, especially since I finally laid all the mulch, over 100 bags, and everything is looking nice and we have a few things blooming. And so I want to go ahead and do a full garden tour. We've been doing walkthroughs and that's been great and we'll continue to do those because things are always changing. But I wanted to do a full garden tour. So we're going to start this garden tour off and we're going to kick it off right over here at the Chicken Run Garden. Let's go. So we are here at the Chicken Run Garden and everything is looking lovely. I'm so excited about how everything is growing in. We have this pyrese. This pyrese has been trampled, and so it's not as big as it should be, but it is growing back, and I'm excited about that. Remember, we planted a bunch of poppies in here. The poppies are growing. So we planted a bunch of poppies, a bunch of hollyhocks in here, and so all those things seem to be growing just lovely. We also have in here, I don't remember the name of this plant, but it smells like mint. It produces these nice white flowers, and it was like this one and this one. It's the first plants that I purchased, and I didn't remember the names of them. And so they are growing in nicely. This is like their third or fourth move. They do get pretty big and they do attract a lot of bees, and so I'm glad that they're doing well. We also have hosta in here, some Shasta daisies. A lot of these things repeat itself, and we have Black Eye Susan. This is actually Black Eye Susan and a hosta. And then we have our tulips that are fading out, and you'll see as we go down the line that I've already cut a lot of the stems off the tulips. Right here we have a lungwort, and that is doing excellent. I really like these plants and I really like the blooms of them, so I have a few of them. And we just planted up some babies not that long ago over in the part sun part shade garden. So like I said, there's a lot of repetition. Black Eye Susans right here. We also have bees balm in here. This bees balm right here is from Proven Winters. It is the lower growing bees balm and it blooms pink, and so there's one there. We have one over here. Then we have, I believe this is catnip pajamas that we have right here. We also have salvia in here, and then we have some Shasta daisies that are looking wonderful. More catnip pajama. We have daylilies in here. Remember, the goats got out, and so that was like one of their favorite things that they did eat. Then we have this lilac plant that I transplanted over here, and it's looking gorgeous. Look at the blooms. Pretty. This right here is a coreopsis. This will be repeated in another area in the garden, but I really like this flower. It spreads and it is growing, and so I can always just dig out a piece and stick it somewhere else, as you all saw me do on the Hillside garden. So we have that bees balm again here, and then we have this lamian that is so happy here. So this lamian, as you all know, I will repeat that. These are Shasta daisies as well. More Shasta daisy. More, this must have been a transplant. This right here is salvia. And so things just continue to repeat themselves as we go down. We recently transplanted this bush right here. The goats got after it, but it'll be okay. We have some sedum. This sedum I put here as a little tiny baby, like I broke it off from somewhere. And that's what I love about sedum, is that you can just, no matter what type of sedum it is, whether it's this right here, which is Autumn Joy, or this low growing sedum, you can just take a little piece, which I've done with both of these, and I tucked them in here. But look how big this Autumn Joy is. It was super, like one little stem. More Black Eye Susan. And we also have those gazanias planted in here as well. And the last of our tulips on this side. This is my rose bush. This is, as you can see, a snowdrift, Easy Elegance by Easy Elegance. But it's a snowdrift. It blooms white. It was full with buds and foliage. but those goats. But the foliage is growing back, and I'm sure I'm gonna still get some some buds and everything on this before the summer, at least the summer's out. So as we cross over to the next part of the run, that same rose bush is here, and so it's growing back as well. We still have some of those tulips, and like I said, everything is repeating itself. Catnip pajama, the bush we planted, the black-eyed Susan, the daylilies, the catnip pajamas, I think I said that already. We have a couple of hostas. We have actually a sedum right here. I'll probably have to move that because that and the hosta. Yep, another lilac. And this lamium is super happy here. I'm gonna actually have to come in and take some pieces from here and put them somewhere else. I don't want it to grow over into the grass, and also it's time to divide it because you see inside this hole, so we'll see. And it's also covering up because I put right there gazania, and it's covering up that gazania and these poppies, but it looks so good. I love lamium. But that hole right there, I'm sure it will grow up and get full, but I might come and take some pieces off of this. Shasta daisies again. Look how big this lungwort is. This lungwort is so happy. So then we have a hosta, and then with the other Perry's tree is looking lovely. And then this is the backside where I thought I took everything out, but those hostas obviously came back with a vengeance, and I'm glad, and they are beautiful. We have a couple that are not that big, but it's okay. And then remember, on the back side we planted up the coleus, and then we have also some yucca in here. Okay, so that is our, well, I guess this is connected, so that is going to do it for the chicken run garden. So let's move over to the next garden area. Okay, so we are over here where I typically call this the this side, I call this the veggie side, because most of the veggie garden beds are on this side. And so that's the side we're on now. And so right here we have a rose, and I believe this is another elegance rose, or made by elegance. It's another drift rose, and I believe this one blooms white flowers as well. Sorry about my shadow. And then we have another lilac. This one is looking so good, and the other ones are starting to actually perk up because I was losing hope. We recently moved this one over a little bit, and it looks so much better. Or maybe I was expecting more out of it sooner than needed to be expected. And then we have the other one back here. And so, but this one has the most blooms on it, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. And we tucked some delphiniums back here as well, and so they're perking up. And then we recently moved the abelia, and so the abelia is growing in. It's growing in a little slow, but it has some green there to let us know that it's not dead. Okay. And then remember, we planted up all those poppies in the front, and so we have the poppies and the bachelor buttons. And so as you all can see, those have really grown in, and they're getting big. I can't wait to see them bloom. And as we move over here, we see the remember we planted up the sunflowers, so the sunflowers are to the back and there's nothing in the front. And so this is still going to be like a working space, this front part. Back here inside this particular container, we have radishes and we have carrots, and we also have marigolds in this container as well. This container right here, we have broccoli and marigolds. And we have the trellises in place, so when it's time to put those vine-in vegetables, I have a place for that. Right here in this large container, we planted up potatoes. I put the hay on top, but as you can see, I need to add some more. But you're gonna see that green, and that's what I like about the potato plant. I do like that the potato plant, that although you don't see the actual potatoes because they grow under, the foliage of it to me is pretty, and so it will fill up and fill this whole container up. Right here we have our container of tulips that are leaving us. As you can see, I'm going to have to come in here and I'm going to have to cut these back, and it's so important to cut these stems off so that the energy does not go into this part right here, which would be like considered like a seed pod, I believe. But you want the energy to go back into the bulb, and so you want to come and cut those stems. So yeah, that's going to be a part of what I'm going to do probably after this tour. Back here we have the clematis that is growing up, and I'm so happy that both of them did survive. And so we have two clematis, but there's no blooms yet, but they're growing up this trellis and they're catching, and so I'm excited about that, to see if we get any blooms. Remember, we planted up those nasturtiums in here, so you see the nasturtiums down in there making their way. They're fine, and so we'll have to have other plans for this container once all the tulips are gone. Over in this container we have a few, what did I plant in here? Oh, I planted collard greens towards the back, and then I planted some more marigolds. But I also believe that I had this as a zinnia bed last year. I don't know, do you all think that's a zinnia? I'm gonna leave it, let it grow, and see what happens. But this had all zinnias in it, so we might have some zinnias in here again because the seeds could have dropped, which would be perfectly fine with me. As we turn our attention back to this round container, we have cauliflower in here and marigolds as well, and we have our trellis. When we walk back around here, we have this area where we planted up all those wonderful snapdragons. And so we have the snapdragons planted in here. We also have excuse me, we also have this beautiful plant, the Rose of Sharon, in a piece of plastic that I need to take off apparently. This Rose of Sharon blooms, I'm gonna look at the tag over here because I believe it's white blooms, but I don't know if I'm mixing it up with the other Rose of Sharon that I have. But this Rose of Sharon right here, and then we have beneath it, we have all the snapdragons. And then I'm so excited to see that our hibiscus, let's see if I can get in there, the hibiscus are starting to form its new branches, or whatever you want to call it. So let me take a look at this. Yes, they're not pure white flowers that it blooms, but this is another Rose of Sharon. So we have two Rose of Sharon, and we also have two hibiscus, and they both are alive. And so now I can come back in if I want and cut those stems down quite a bit. And these are our cluster plants of the clusters that we planted up of the snapdragon. And so the snapdragon seem to be happy. I am trying to get rid of this shadow, but, and then we have back here by the door, we have all of these hydrangeas, and these are all bloom struck hydrangeas, and so they bloom a purple bloom. And I'm so glad that they survived their transplant. And then before I move down, let me just back up, because in this bed right here we have our rose standard that we just recently planted up, and it does have some yellowing, and that's because right after I planted it and watered it, we got a tremendous amount of rain. We had was 4 or 5 days of rain, and so I think that's where the yellowing came from. I also was like, oh, did I over fertilize? I wasn't sure, but this is going to produce those beautiful yellow blooms. And do you all see all the buds on this. This is the Julia Child Rose tree. So if I back up and start over here, there's nothing in this bed. Well, I say nothing, but you see something. There's no vegetables in this bed right now. This bed just has marigolds and it has chives. And chives are a part of the allium family. And so they have the purple blooms. So I am looking forward to those blooms. You can still use them in your cooking, yes, but they do produce the purple blooms, and they also help with keeping away pests, because most pests do not like onions. And so I have these planted. As we walk and talk, you will see that these are planted up in several places. Right here, this bed has bok choy or pak choy, marigolds as well, and chives again. This bed over here has red Russian kale, some sages in here as well, and marigolds. I try to put marigolds everywhere. When we step back to this back row where we left off with these bloomstruck hydrangeas, we have a Weigelia here. This is a different Weigelia than my wine and rose. This Weigelia is the minor black. I'm trying to remember that name. So this is the minor black Weigelia. So I'm so glad that it's thriving here, because I wasn't sure if it was going to do good there or not. And as we travel down, if I turn here to the right, my right, this bed right here is full of cabbage and collard greens that we planted up. When I turn back, we have another hydrangea. And then we have a few hosta planted in this bed. We have our lovely dapple willow trees. Oh, I love these willow trees. So love them. So love them. And then down at the bottom of the trellis, we have the amaranth that we planted together. And as you can see, there is a bloom there. And I'm hoping they will grow up and over, but I don't know if they're going to get that tall. So we'll think of something else to plant here. But I think this space, it's turned out to be absolutely lovely. And so I have an idea for what I want to plant right in here. So we'll see, we'll get to it. Same over here, we have some hydrangea, and we have the amaranth, and we have another dapple willow tree, and we have another hydrangea. And so my thought actually is to plant more hydrangeas and make this kind of like a hydrangea lane, but yet and still we have things interplanted. Above me right here, when I step out, is a apple tree. No apples yet, but the blooms are always beautiful. The blooms have already fallen off, and so now we have the leaves, but this is our apple tree. Right down below me is our onion bed that we planted up not that long ago, and it seems to be doing okay. This bed is full of another type of kale, red. I think this one is our, what kale are you? This is our curled kale in this bed. And I also have a mum that I was overwintering, and I'm gonna just leave it right there for now. As I walk down, this bed right here is full of laciato kale and spinach. This is our lettuce bed. This bed right here is, I know it's cabbage, not cabbage. This is kale. This is our Russian kale. Another bed of that. So there's tons of kale. We don't eat that much kale, but you know. This right here is our bed that is full of Swiss chard. And then this bed right here is another bed with cabbages. It's our regular cabbage, like green cabbage, and we also have red cabbage. And so these cabbage beds are eventually going to get covered. I have not seen the white moth, cabbage moth, but you know, you never know. And so that wraps up this particular section, which I'm calling, I said, should I call it the wall garden? I don't know, but this is our veggie area where most of our veggies will grow. And then we have that back area that we planted up with some flowers. And my idea is to continue in front of this bed. I am looking for, just like I did over there in the black section, In this section, I want to create some type of hedge. I want 1 or 2 flowers only, perennials that come up every year in this space. I'm thinking right now salvia and candy tuft. The salvia will bloom all spring and summer, mid-spring and summer, and then the candy tuft will bloom in the summer, and then we'll still have the foliage, bloom in the spring, and we'll have the foliage throughout the summer. I think that combination will be nice, but once again, I'm still thinking about it. I'm still looking to see if that's what I'm going to do. So let's move on to our next space. So the next space we're in, which is still a part of the garden, is our shed, where we just recently planted up all of these containers. And so that table set is still there. I actually been sitting there more since I've created this space, which is interesting. So for now, it will stay there. It also, what I like about it, I purchased it from someone. I got this off a marketplace, and they put a glass top, but I can take the glass top off if I want and put an umbrella. And so I have that option to, still get some type of shade if I were to leave it there. And so as we get a little closer, over here we have the bench, and then this is just a planter that I put sedum in. Like I put like 1 piece of sedum in and it just grew, and so it's just gonna stay like that. If we go above, these are our planters and the petunias that we grew from seed. I also have some speedwell in here, some lamium, and I tucked in a few coleus. And so both baskets are the same and they're looking great. We have our rhododendron down here. We have gladiolus. We have another different type of weigelia. We just walked through all this, so I'm just going over this quickly. We have our little containers that we put coleus in, and I was able to put 1 petunia. And so everything over here that we just planted up is looking good. I'm looking forward to the blooms of the pansies. They have yet to bloom, but look at how big this coleus has got since I planted it in this planter. And then I don't know if you all with me, but I did go ahead and stick lamium in here and a little decorative butterfly. The rose is looking good, and we will be planting up this window box very soon. And so we just put a little decor in here, and I think everything is looking good. And so let's look at this planter, because we have blooming petunias. Isn't that gorgeous? And then the other one is this shade, this darker shade. And so, purple, and so that's pretty. And then there's a huge bee. Please don't sting me. I don't think you will. So that just wraps up the shed section. This is what our shed is looking like, the front of the shed. So as we pan over this way, this is my work area, as you all know, but it's a part of the garden. The table is missing. I'm going to put it back. I use it for something else. And then there goes my section of plants that we will talk about soon and plant up soon. We also have an apple tree right here. And so moving by, there's nothing in this bed right now. I take that back. I planted up some, what did I plant in here? Marigolds, but they did not do good. I don't know if one survived, and it's interesting because this has been sat on it if they did, but I don't know. We'll have to replant those marigolds. I also planted up a dahlia in here. Let me take my shadow away again. A dahlia, and it has sprouted. That one sprouted. This one has it. Those are the dahlias that I do not know the name of, that were given to me as a gift. What I'm also noticing is that I'm getting these little sprouts that I don't know what they are. Like, they're not tomatoes, I don't believe, because that's what was in this bed before. What was also in this bed was peppers. I'm starting to think they might be penstemon. It is my understanding that penstemon will send off a lot of seeds, and if that is the case, I'm going to be digging those up, because I would like more penstemon in my garden. And so I'm leaving them there to grow so I can see what they are. Let me give you a close-up. Do y'all think that's penstemon? So I'm going to just let those little seedlings grow until I see what they are. And I hope this dahlia produces as well. And so this part right here, which I didn't mention, is the Hillside garden. It's the garden that I've been working in a lot. And so this is the garden that we call the Hillside garden, because I went from the shed garden and looking at my work area, but forgot to mention we are now talking about the Hillside garden. So this right here is a part of the Hillside garden as well. So with that being said, this is a carrot bed that we planted up. And then back here we have the sedum, we have the arborvitaes, and we have the penstemon. Now you see how close by the penstemon is in proximity to where I see those little seedlings? I don't know, I could be wrong. And so our sweet pea flowers are doing okay, I would say. They're still growing, they're not dead, but they haven't gotten that much taller. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm excited to see that penstemon come in, but also I'll have to find something to put in place of the agastache that I planted up, because that did not come back. And so, but that penstemon is looking wonderful, and so are the sedums. They are looking wonderful. I thought about just putting a whole bunch of sedum over here, but we'll see. And the apple trees are looking good as well. This bed right here is arugula. We can start eating off this now, and beets are in this bed right here. So that's what we have in this bed. When we turn back this way, there's what's in this bed is probably nothing for sure, because a marigold survived, maybe two. Okay, so we have 2 marigolds in this bed, and we're going to be working in this bed to get more planted up. So let's walk back this way and make our entry to the hillside, the other part of the hillside where all the flowers are. And so when you approach this pathway, we see that we have they're like fire something arborvitaes. I think they're dead. I just left them there. But what's so interesting is this one right here. It has green on it, and so, but this one does not. I don't know. So I've just left them there. So this walkway was full of the hyacinths, and as you can see, the hyacinths are now gone. I cut them back. And then we have those junipers, those beautiful blue junipers lining the row. And then we have these beautiful yellow, I can't think of the name of them. Cypress, okay. Those 3 cypress that are on the other side. And so I want to interplant. And so I wanted to interplant something that was going to come up after the hyacinths had died back. And I think I meant to put the bachelor buttons over here, but I forgot and put them somewhere else. But we will get something planted in this area. And so when you swing around, you'll see that I have roses. This is not a climbing rose, but I have trained it to go up. I kind of just keep sticking the stems in to go up into this trellis, and it's super huge. There are 4 of them, and they have put it on major growth. I think I planted them last year, and so they look awesome. I can't wait. 2 of them bloom white and 2 of them bloom pink, and so I can't wait till the blooms come in. And then as you continue to walk, you'll see I have black sedum, 3 sedums, and it's called black something. I don't remember the name. Sorry guys, I try, but it doesn't always work. Oh, maybe I should keep it zoomed. So okay. And then we have agastache between both of those, and so I can see that those ones are still alive, so we look forward to that growing. When we pan around, we see that underneath this apple tree we have some alliums that are blooming, and they look absolutely great. And then underneath that there is Artemisia, and we moved those from underneath that wine and rose Weigelia and put them down here because they were just leaning over up there, but I think they're going to do magnificent here. Off to the side of that, you can see that my eclipse hydrangea is still alive, and I am excited about that. The part of the pathway was to walk right up to it. The point of the pathway was to walk the pathway to my eclipse hydrangea, and so I'm looking forward to those blooms. When we pan around, we have a snake root plant, I think that's what you call it, and this blooms these pretty white little flowers. Last year something came and ate it, so I'm gonna have to shake something around it so I can actually see the blooms. And then right next to it we have the boom chocolata geranium. Now all these dark foliages were not meant to be beside each other like this. I didn't realize that I did that, but for now we're just going to leave it be. We have all this planting space in front of it, so I'm definitely going to make sure that I don't do anything with dark foliage because we have enough of that, including the sedum being right beside it. And so that is interesting. So over here we have our spirea. Aren't they gorgeous? They are glowing. Let me see the name of those because they're not the candy corn or whatever, but these are called firelight spireas. And that color is magnificent. It's magnificent. And then we have a buttleia there. I know this one blooms white. It has white blooms and it doesn't get as big. And so we have that there. In between the firelight spirea and the buttleia, we have over here, that is phlox. I believe that is phlox, if I'm not mistaken. That, and then we have phlox there. That is phlox, that's phlox, and then more phlox behind it. So we have a ton of phlox. I believe that's phlox. For some reason, I'm not sure. For some reason, I think it's phlox. If not, I'll tell you all what it is another time. I've cut back all the tulips in all of these containers. We have another lamium that is very happy over there. And then we have this beautiful hydrangea that we stuck in here last year. It's a quick fire fab. Gotta remember the name of that hydrangea. I'm looking forward to those blooms. Another rose. And then we have our wine and rose Weigelia that I absolutely love, and I cannot wait for it to bloom those beautiful pink flowers. So as I walk and make my way up, right here we have some bachelor buttons, and those should grow in nicely. And then I'm not gonna lie, I cannot remember the name of this plant, and this plant has gotten absolutely huge, and so I'll have to find the name of that plant. I cut back the tulips. 2 of them just came up though. Underneath the wine and rose Weigelia, we planted up some phlox, and as you can see, it's losing its beautiful bright pink color, and that's okay because we're gonna get blooms from the wine and rose Weigelia, and that was one of the reasons why I stuck it back there. More phlox. Another rose bush. This right here is another hydrangea. Right here we have some coreopsis. That one is huge out of all 3. I don't know why, but hopefully the other ones will catch up. And I'm looking because look, guys, something has built a tunnel. Something decided to tunnel under my rose. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to sprinkle something in there because whatever it is, I do not want it. This rose right here is doing the absolute best, and I'm gonna stick glass down there. I don't want to eat in its roots. So let me swing around and back up and go back to the front of this bed. We have our balloon flowers that we just planted up. And then we have the salvias that are filling in nicely. We have some sage in this pot. Over here we have the Asiatic lilies. that we had got off of clearance, and the ones that we started from seed, whatever you want to call it, they have yet to bloom yet. And then we have that sage that we just recently planted up. So we have the sage, and then we do have some Nyphopia over here. Right here is Nyphopia. And then right here we have that plant that I told you all about the other day, the Daydream Sandwort. So we have two of those. We have those yellow Coreopsis. Up here we have some Dianthus, and we have tons of sedum down here. We have all of our foxgloves that we planted up, and then we have more salvia. As I walk up the hill, we have a peony. This peony has plenty of foliage, but it doesn't have any buds, so we probably will not get any blooms from it. Behind that, we have yarrow. This one blooms pink. When I swing to the side, you'll see that we have two baptisias. The baptisia, one is lemonade, and I don't know what the other one is. I'll have to wait for it to bloom. And then we have some sugar tip Rose of Sharon. Gorgeous. And then right in front of this container, we have a Shasta daisy, and that one is called Goldfinch. And so we have 3 of those planted. Right up here on the wall, which is right above the Hillside garden, we have hostas, a line of hostas. We have another yarrow which blooms yellow, and we have over here this beautiful speedwell. On the side of the top of the yard, we have a row of rhododendron, and some of them have already bloomed. Okay, and so guys, that is the Hillside garden. That is our Hillside garden. Okay, let's move on to the next space. So the next space we're going to talk about is going to be the wall garden, what I call the wall garden. Let me see if I can back you up a bit. The wall garden. So we know at the top of the wall, we have a row of hydrangeas that have came in, and they're huge and they're beautiful. We also have that same beautiful speedwell at the top. I love that speedwell. It's kind of like a ground cover, it could be, but it also will grow in. Let me get a close-up of it. It will also grow in, at least it did last year. It grew in and it draped over the wall, and I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. So let me step out of the wall garden, and what we have is a rose here, and it looks lovely. It's budded up. We have the line of foxglove. We have lamium over there. We have a lot of repetition. We have this big salvia. We have a couple of salvias. I know one blooms white and one blooms pink. We have these daylilies that are humongous, and they're going to need to be divided definitely in the fall. We have sedum in here, another Coreopsis down there. Right here, what you're seeing is bees balm. Now this bees balm is the tall version. Someone gave me that out of their yard. It gets tall. It gets these bright pink color. I can't wait till it's in bloom. So a lot of things are not in bloom right now, but I can't wait. There's a Coreopsis here, and in June, when everything's blooming, of course, we're going to do another walkthrough. This right here is a patch of aster. We have a lamb's ear under here, and it's hiding. Those daylily leaves are covering it. This is another Coreopsis or tick seed, and it blooms that orange. That is beautiful. We have some more Black Eye Susan, and now these peonies over here have buds, and so I'm excited to see that, because this would be the first time I would get peony blooms. I've never had peony blooms. More salvia. Back there is another Dianthus, and that one blooms like a a red, dark pinkish, so it's really pretty. And this fountain doesn't hold water, and so I made it into a planter, and I have that beautiful sedum in there that I love. And I love how it just sits in here. And last year I interplanted it with some petunias, and so I may do that again. We'll see. Right below me is my monarch daisy, and so I have to remember in July to give it a Chelsea cut. It does not bloom until the fall, these beautiful white flowers, but it gets humongous and I need to cut it back. So over here we have another peony, and we see the buds. See them back there. Our Japanese maple is happy. And then we have irises. Now I will tell you that I had like 3 stalks to bloom, and unfortunately for whatever reason it got really wet and they broke. And so I've been trying to pull the mulch back to make sure it's not a problem. So I don't know if I'll get any blooms off of these particular irises if I just lost them. We have some more. We have our what is this? Not delphinium. Yes, delphinium down here that we planted up together, and another coreopsis. And I just think this section is so nice and full. The candy tuft, I love that candy tuft is in there. And so we have a repeat of some daisies right here too. And then once again, that bees balm. And then right behind the bees balm, we have lady's mantle. Lady's mantle is another fave. All the plants are my faves, I guess, but we have another lady's mantle. So let me step out. Then we have some sedums down here, different colors growing in. And then we have some more asters and another lady's mantle. And then we have our Asiatic lilies back there that I can't wait to bloom. I also thought I had lupin back there, but I'm not sure. And then we have this pot right here full of sedum. Isn't it gorgeous? More daylilies. It repeats itself. Monarch daisy. Everything is repetitive now. And so yeah, we can move on. The only thing that I don't have on the other side that I have on this side is some lavender. The same rose is over here as well, and that one's budded up. And so yeah, and look how big those hostas are after dividing them last year. It's just gorgeous. So I love how they hang over the wall. And so guys, that is the wall garden. Not much color, but we will have some soon. Let's move to our next area. Okay, so our next area is our part sun, part shade garden. But it also has another name because it is also a secret garden. Let me show you how. So upon entry of my yard, you do not see that garden. And then you start to see a little bit of garden as you walk. And so what was so interesting is my grandmother was here yesterday and she knew I had been working on a garden space. And she said, "Where's that garden space you've been working on?" So I took her to the top of the stairs as we're going now to the top of the staircase. And then she turned and she was like, "Oh my gosh, that is beautiful." Because you couldn't see it. She couldn't see it from where she was. So although it's part shade, part sun, it's also a secret garden. Let's walk through it. So this is a space that we've been working on, and that was recently, you all know, was expanded, and I am loving it. So we recently planted up the mugo pine along with these salvias. It looks gorgeous, especially now that the mulch is down. Every year I say I don't want to mulch, but every year once I mulch, I am so happy about the mulch. It's just a lot of work, and yes, I have help. It's just still a lot of work because I kind of got to micromanage because you can't step on my plants. And so we have this beautiful azalea. This is one of the azaleas, I believe, that no, this is my first azalea. Oh, I thought this is not the ones my daughters bought me. I know where those ones are, but this is one of my azaleas. And then we have lamium. Look how good that lamium looks. And then the what do you call it, the hen chicks, or the chicks and hen. And then we have a little bit of sedum popping out. This, and then we have our bird cage. This little area right here, I love. That lamium just really helps in areas, and I'm so happy with it. And then as we go up, we have phlox over here. We have what is it, Williams? Sweet Williams is also in here. We have some mums, a mum right here, a mum up there. And then we have this line of lamb's ear. And I can't wait to continue to split this lamb's ear and bring it down up into the hen and chicks. That way we'll have like a patch of lamb's ear. So what I'm trying to do with this space as well is I want to create a hedge, different hedges. So we have our little hedge of salvia right here. We have our hen and chicks, which I'm going to continue to add more. And then I'm hoping to pull down some more lamb's ear with a little hedge of that. We have a 9-bark here. This 9-bark is going to get tall. I think the fence is 6 feet. I think it's going to pass that, and I think it's going to look gorgeous. If we look down, we will see that there is a hedge of hosta, all the same kind. It looks like I have a space I need to fill there, and I will do that. And then we have this beautiful viburnum, and it's just coming into color with its white flowers. The white flowers are coming in, so soon these will be white balls. So let me step back down. And so this bed is still a work in progress. And so up there, I'm going to step into bed again. I'm going to have to keep going up and down. We have this one is the one that my daughters bought me a couple of Mother's Days ago. This is another azalea. Isn't that gorgeous? And then we have mums right all in a row, and those will bloom in fall. Right here we have an iris, so I'm hoping to get a bloom for this iris. I did come in and pull back some of the mulch as well. We also have over here, this is our cushion, like scabiosa is another name for it. Scabiosa. We have some coreopsis, sedum, and a juga. And then this right here is called, I don't know why I can't think of the name, but it's growing back in. A dwarf honeysuckle. So put that tag back there. And then we have sedums. And just a lot of like little ground cover thingies. Simply gorgeous. And I don't know where this came from. I don't remember planting. This looks like a viola pansy. I don't remember doing that. And then we have our, what else do we have? We have our, we planted something over here. Oh, foxglove. There's foxglove in here. We have a spirea. That plant, that azalea, is not dead, guys. It's growing back. It likes its new spot, so good. Let me step back down. Ajuga is looking good. And so right now, most of the front, except for a couple of spaces, don't have anything planted. So this is where we started planting the front of the bed, the expansion part of the bed. Then we have another azalea over here. That's the same as that one over there, so I guess it's catching up. We have some columbine in here as well. Isn't that lovely? And then we have, and yes, it's alive, a hydrangea. It's taking its time, but I did interrupt it. This right here is a viburnum. This one doesn't have any blooms on it yet, and I'm not sure why, but the leaves look lovely. The foliage is pretty, so if it doesn't get any blooms, it's okay with me. We have a patch of, what is this? Daisy, Shasta daisy. Hosta here. Ajuga, lamium, of course. This is another viburnum. It has these beautiful white clusters that will be coming out. another columbine. Right here we have coreopsis, another one over there. They bloom yellow. I'm trying to step back so you all can kind of see where I'm actually at. And then I recently off camera planted up some yuccas. Those yuccas that the goats had gotten to and kind of killed, they're coming back, as you can see. They are alive. So I planted 3 yuccas in here. My rose is doing okay. The climbing rose, I see new foliage on it, so that's definitely a good sign. Sedum, and we've recently been over here, so we planted up this juniper, and then I just put this table set here that I'll probably have to spray paint again. I don't know if I'm gonna leave it here, but I think it looks kind of cute. Let me know what you all think. We have our bleeding hearts that are getting huge, and the spirea, of course, is getting huge too. More bleeding hearts, spurge, another viburnum. And then remember we planted up the coleus in the walkway. It's looking good. So a lot of repetition, and because we were just over here, I'm not going to mention every single plant because we were just in this area planting up a lot of these plants, like the primrose and the pyres. That is actually, I will point that out, because when we planted up, it just had sticks, and now it has new foliage all over it, and so it likes its spot. Oops. And then over here, as you all know, we have a sea of different hostas and heucheras. We do have back there a bloom-struck hydrangea that's growing in. Let's just keep walking. I did cut back all of the, what did I cut back? I cut back all of the tulips, and so right here I am. I'm gonna walk out of the entrance and go back a little more, and there goes our other climbing rose. It does have foliage, but I don't know, guys, if I should move them. They might not be getting enough sun. Our Japanese painted ferns came back nicely, and I definitely want more of those. We have a praying hands hosta here. I do know the name of this one, and that came back. And there's a stilby back here, another hosta, some phlox over there. Look how beautiful that hosta is. We have sedum. Our grasses that have gotten eaten by the bunnies are coming back, which I'm excited about. More stilby, another hydrangea here. This right here is a different type of primrose. It produces yellow flowers, a scabiosa down there. And look at this columbine. Look at all of the blooms. Gorgeous. The spirea, we just recently planted another hydrangea right here. When I step back, you'll see our spruce tree that we planted up, along with all the heuchera below it. It looks great. I need to clean that water fountain. Didn't realize it. Those hostas we recently planted up, they're doing okay. Those little ones that we started from root, they're doing okay. We have phlox over here. And we did plant up 3 lungwort plants. There goes one, there goes one. The other one died, but I'm gonna take a piece from somewhere and just plant it up. Another hydrangea, and then look, another columbine that came back with a vengeance. I'm so glad they came back. And that my grasses, let me get closer. Look at the grasses. The bunnies really ate these down. Oh, I love these. Let me see if I can see the name of them. Oh, I don't see it. I thought I left a tag. Our little tree we planted up. And here goes another columbine that came back. I'm so happy. This one is gorgeous too. And then remember we planted up the bare root astilbe? Well, it has peeked through. So I'm waiting to see if it's going to peek through any other spots. But there is a sign of it. And we planted up those sweet pea flowers on this. There's only one that is there. That's okay. We have some sedum. And the other ones back there behind this little limelight hydrangea, they're not doing that great, but you just never know, they might bounce back. And so even that little limelight hydrangea is looking good. So the limelight hydrangea is looking good. We have some candy tuft here, and then we have 3 butterfly bushes, one there, one there, and one there, and they're coming back good. And so this garden I'm so excited about. I think it's gorgeous, and I just can't wait to see for you. I think it's looking gorgeous, and I just can't wait for you all to see some of the plants and ideas that I have for this space. Even this corner right here, I already have something to kind of mask between the shed and the fence, you know, because we store things back there. And so, you know, gotta lay a little bit more mulch right here. But this is a part shade, part sun, aka also known as secret garden. And it is just looking gorgeous. Simply beautiful. Simply beautiful. Everything is coming together nicely as we pan around. Well guys, that is going to bring this garden tour to a close. I know you hate to see it end. Me too. But everything is blooming nicely. We have so many plants to continue to get in the ground and so many projects that's going to take place. I hope that you will stay tuned here at PoweFolk Living with your girl Lakeisha. Anyways, until next time, thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to leave me a comment, because remember, I will talk back. If you've done all those things, thank you. If you haven't, please consider. Until next time, blessings. Bye.